or I'm not going. Like, that's it. That's my line.
I always do this every
drawing
single
lines.
week. Oh shit! Wait. Whoops. There we go. Welcome everybody to the Renegade Realm podcast.
I hate everything.
Oh, sorry. Let me put it back. Boom. All right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. Welcome everybody to the Renegade Realm podcast, episode 94. Oh, if you can believe
Shut
that.
up, Red. Stop talking about Bethesda, idiot.
I'm sorry. No, keep it coming. DeMarco, it's your turn. Go.
Oh, well, I had the assassin thing over my face, so that's why
Yeah. Oh man, and I just woke up. I had to take a nap before I jumped on the show because I was
bet that woke you up a little faster.
Oh, it did. Yeah, and nothing gets my blood pumping and ready to go for a podcast than getting yelled at about things I love. Oh, speaking of love, Ashtray Gaming, bro, what the hell? I don't know. Maybe you've jumped on in the chat before, but thank you for being here, man. I shout out to everyone here. Game Adaptation Newscast. He was the first. Always good to give a shout out to the first. Thank you so much. It's Timmy Game Seeker. What's up, bro? Oh God, who else? Barry Donnellan, channel member. Game Seeker, channel member. Lotus Esprit, channel member. Also, Stephen Dix. Yes, thank you, Stephen Dix. Thank you so much for being here. William Riggs, I think I already said that. I'm just waking up. Gray Monad, Moose 1, Biff Rinaldi, what's up, bro? The Elemental here, the Shadowling Dragon, Wolf King. Hello, lords and my ladies. I have been summoned. Yes, you have. You have. Thank you for coming. Let's see who else. Who else is here? King Styles, of course. Slow Lark, what's up, man? I was talking to Slow Lark behind the scenes. Hope you're doing good, man. And BT Maverick, as always. CBH for God. Or what are we going to call CBH? We're calling him Charles? What have we decided? Cameron.
Charlemagne, Bronson.
Hangles. Hanglesworth. So Charlemagne, thank you for being here. Noise Mofo, yes, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, each and every week, it's our outlet. It's our fun time. It's our time to get all of our gobbledygoos out. I don't know, but hey, listen. I'm so out of it. I'm like not completely awake. But hey, Holly, what have you been into? There we go. And what have you been playing this week? Man.
What the heck have I been doing? Hey, I played Outward this last week. That was fun.
That was a thing.
You
want to tell people about that game? So,
when your most common co-op partner says, hey, I really want to play this game, and you're like, okay, so you do it, right? We played this game twice now. The first time, it's a survival whatever game, right? I don't know how to describe it. There's quests, you're a person, you're in a town.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go do things and survive.
You're really selling this one.
You're a person. You do things.
There's
it's
quests.
A game.
You do things.
Got it.
There's quests, right? But it is very survival based. The combat is like the super awkward, janky, like, right? A chicken effed this guy up, right? The first time, and I killed it.
Real bad.
I am the stable partner.
Yep. And I'm the one that's
Red
like,
is, hey, we just killed a chicken. Now let's go kill those guys with swords. And I'm like, I don't think we should do that. I think we should just sneak around. And oh, too late.
I'm killing
and then
it.
we died.
It's killing me. I'm dead.
I'm killing it.
Yep.
Stabbing.
What happened?
Yeah.
So the second time we played it, it's called Outward.
What's the environment? Is it like a post-apocalyptic? Is it like a fantasy? Is it like a
very fantasy.
It's
Modern?
like fantasy.
Okay.
Like medieval-ish fantasy.
Okay, so you're casting spells?
You can, yeah. But we can't.
Okay.
That must be a thing, but we have never been able to.
We've not gotten there yet.
We can't get past the first. It took us, between the two times we've played, it probably took us 7 hours to complete the first quest, which is literally go out the gate and walk to this other town. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep. We just
And
got
so
there.
Red got us killed this time on our way. We said, okay, this time we're really gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're just gonna walk straight to this town. We're not gonna like do anything else. So we go out the gate. We're prepped. It takes a lot of prep just to leave too, right?
Mhm.
Like, so we prep. We're
Gotta
like,
get
okay,
food.
screw
Gotta
those
get
chickens,
water.
all those chickens,
Mhm.
bed rolls, the whole thing. And there's a day-night cycle, of course, right? And the stuff that comes with it. So we're headed to this town, and you have to have these travel rations to even get through certain gates to go on to the next area. And Red saw the sword guys, and he's like, let's do it! And I'm like, and he was dead. So we both
You should try
died.
Kingdom
First
Come
time we
Deliverance next.
Yeah, right.
It's warming you up. It's warming you up for
Oh my
Kingdom
God.
Come Deliverance.
You should try this and see. Like, but I
You
had never
might like
died
it.
before. He was always dying, and I was getting him up. We were fine. But this time, he got us in enough of a pickle where we both died.
You're
and then we
describing.
wake
You're
up.
describing. You're describing Red in every single game we ever play. Red was dying
That's true.
somewhere, and
Yep.
someone else was
Off,
getting him up.
completely off where I'm not supposed to be.
Yep.
Yep.
While I'm touching a button somewhere else. Ooh, button.
Yeah, exactly.
So we wake up on this platform in this green mist, not knowing what's going on, where we're at. We look like we're in purgatory. We're like, what? And then he's like, I don't know. And he jumps off the platform. I'm dead. There was something below the platform, and I was like, I don't even know what we're supposed to do. You don't know what you're supposed to do. It's dark. You can't see anything. So I go off the platform, and I figure out, oh, we're actually in this weird jail thing, right?
Like, we
And
went to, like,
so
ghost
I make
prison.
my way out.
Okay.
Well, no, it was.
Like
It
the
just
ship
had these
in
like
Sea of
fire
Thieves,
breathing
like
things.
when you die in Sea of Thieves and you're stuck on the ship, like you got to get out of it.
Or
Kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
but
sorta.
like way harder. Yeah, and you're like stuck with
But
like
yeah,
these
well, that
fire
you
breathing
you
guys.
just walk out. Yeah, that you just walk out. of.
Yeah, you had to run
we
out.
no,
Go ahead, Holly.
we didn't know. So he died, and I thought, well, he's dead. Goodbye. Good luck. I'll see you back in town at some point in time when you respawn. So I figured out how to get out of there, and I was like, oh, this is just a place on the map that we die and you wake up and all that stuff. And I tried to figure out how to get through the gate and just get to the town. I thought I could revive him in the town that we were trying to get to, but I can't because you need these travel rations to get through the gate, which was on his body. And then so I was like, okay, fine. So I go back in, I sneak back into this place with these prison guards. I find him and I get him up. And then we go back to the gate, avoiding the people that killed us the first time. We get to the gate, still can't go through, not enough travel rations. So we're like, let's
when you
just
see the
sleep.
people
We're
that
really
killed you,
wounded.
is this online? Like it's other people, or is it
No,
NPCs?
it's just,
Okay.
just basic bitch NPCs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
These dudes just walking around like.
So we get to the gate, and we're both really hurt, right? Such few, like, not very much left. And so we sit down, and we're like, we just need to camp. Like, we just need to camp, get some health back, whatever. We're standing at the gate, and we're trying to figure out how to put the campfire down. And all of a sudden, he starts screaming, ninja! Ninja! and, like, and he died.
We just
There
wanted to
was
play
this-
Payday.
Yeah. Ninja.
Yes.
Yeah, is what I was screaming in
was-
chat, just in case you didn't hear what Holly said.
And then it
Yeah.
became Ghost, because it's this just ethereal thing that's in an invisible cloak that shoots magic at you. And it's one of those tracking, like, homing beacon shoot.
Yeah, like a
whatever,
magic missile.
whatever.
Yeah.
It kept shooting him in the back and killed him. And then it would follow me. And then I'm telling you, DeMarco, like, we got him up, we got out of there, we were like, let's just go back to town. Go back to town, right? This freaking ghost keeps showing up. We make it back to town. We go into town, we sleep, we get all ready again. We're like, okay, and this time we're just gonna go straight. We're gonna be smart.
This is
Red's
like
not
an
gonna
hour,
attack
right?
anything.
Of
Oh,
prep.
easily.
Yeah.
Easily. We leave the gates again to go back to go through the gates to the other
And
city.
what does Holly say? First thing Holly says is something along the lines of like, we got to avoid that ghost this time. And I'm like, yeah, let's hope we don't run into him again. And what happens?
We spawn out of the gate and that you hear
me,
and there's the ghost shooting at us. The
Just
instant
waiting.
we're outside of the
I'm the
gate.
ghost.
Like, so he's like, at one point he was just like, I'm just gonna, right? He's like running at it like hibachi, like he's gonna like chop this thing up. And he's like, wait, we can kill this thing, right?
Yeah.
So he finally, like, we figure out, oh, it's not that actually hard to kill.
It's like a glass cannon,
So
yeah.
we killed it.
Yeah.
We kill it,
Hey.
and then like 3 minutes later, we're walking down the road. Ghost. It just keeps respawning and
like-
following us. Like it's
It's so
it's all his
bad.
fault too. All his fault.
So all that happened.
Anyway, so we played that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did make it to the town, but I have no idea what we're gonna do there. He has no bedroll to sleep in. He's got like his character is screwed.
No money.
Like-
no
That's
food.
all
like-
because he died again, and he wound up on that platform, and he forgot to pick up his backpack because you can drop your backpack off of your back, which
You
is
can
a really
literally like,
stupid
whoops,
mechanic.
oh, it slipped off.
You need to
and
get
like,
your
gotta-
backpack back. Pack.
Literally got to like
You
put it
didn't-
back
you-
on. Yeah.
We went back in to get his backpack, but you spawn on this platform that's just high enough, and there's no jump. You can't get on the platform. His backpack is forever trapped
On that.
on this platform that he'll never get back. So all of his stuff is gone.
That sounds like
Good time. Great time.
It was fantastic.
It's actually a fun. Like we were like,
We were
it's one of
crying,
those things
laughing
where
the
it's
whole
an
time.
inevitable loop of laughing and ridiculousness, and you just couldn't get out of it. It was just
What's
over
the name
and
of
over
this?
and over and over.
It's called Outward,
Outward.
and we're on the
Out-
definitive edition, so it's got all the DLC and visual upgrades and stuff like that.
I need to get an image of this in my head because whatever I'm picturing was not this.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. It's co-op, full on co-op. Like it's such a mishmash of game genres in one game. It's very good, but it's very jank. So if you want to play it, just plan on playing with your friends. At least go like wishlist it on Xbox or wherever you want to play it, because it does go on sale a lot. Like it goes on sale for like $7.50 every now and then. So it is definitely worth keeping your eye on. It's fun. It's fun, but it's an acquired taste. But was that all you were
Gonna have a
playing
friend
this
to
week?
play it with. Oh, I finished Shady Part of Me yesterday.
Oh yeah, you were big into that. Did you like it
Really-
after?
I did really like it. It's a little indie game. It's kind of like it's in Game Pass right now. It's been out for 2 or 3 years, I think, on PC. It is a side scroller, puzzler, platformer kind of thing, kind of like Little Nightmares or Inside. And it's a little girl and her shadow that you're playing as both characters. You flip in between them to be able to move objects so that your shadow can only move in the light, and you are scared of light and you only want to stay in the dark. So you use each other to move things to help create shadow and light to ascend through the game. It's really good. It's fun. It's not long. It's like 3-4 hours. Took me longer, but it's not that long. It's a nice game. And then I started Avowed today. Just like half an hour.
I'm
like
the
that.
same. Yeah, I started it and I was like, okay. Like not only I was so out of it again, guys. I didn't sleep very well, so I'm trying to. I had a little bit of coffee before I started the show, so I think I'm okay. But I was like, let me just start up Avowed before. I just sort of like rushed through the character creator. I'm like, let me just see if I'm even gonna like it before I even get excited for it, which is such a weird. It's a weird way of thinking, but again, guys, I'm one of those people. You never get your hopes up, so you never get let down. And I was like, I'm semi excited for Avowed, but I just don't understand like what it is because it's a lot of different things, and like there are a lot of things that I would like for it to be. So I just stopped looking at things. I stopped looking at reviews. I stopped talking to people about it. I stopped that because I didn't really know what kind of questions to ask that would change my mind to get me excited for it. So I sort of like rushed through the character creator, and I was like, my character kind of looks fine, but I'll just sort of just play it for a minute. And I played it, like you said, Holly, for like half an hour, and I immediately was like, okay, now I get it. This feels way better, looks way better, everything way better than I thought that it was going to be. And I'm sort of understanding right off the bat why people are having such great first impressions of it, because it is one of those games that you look at and you're like, or you're like, you know, but then you play it and you're like, oh shit, this looks and feels way better. It's just, you have to get your hands on Avowed to really get an idea for it. And again, I'm not that far at all. I literally, like, half an hour, fought some enemies.
Yeah, I'm in that
around.
First fort, kind of in the tutorial-ish area. Yeah.
Yep.
One question, though, for you or anybody else, sorry, for settings, because I really, and then I need to go run and take care of something, and I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah.
But the one thing I noticed is, and I'm playing on console. I was gonna play on PC, but I said play on console.
FOV.
Well, I had to turn the sensitivity down a little bit on the controller.
Oh,
it was way too, the move sensitivity. Really?
Yeah, mine was
but
like.
I am getting like, this hardly ever happens to me. Hardly ever. But the camera movement in it, like, I feel like I'm almost getting sick. It's too jarring.
Like too framey?
I never had that
like it's more
before.
like it's too like
Wonder if it has
No,
something to do with the way the motion blur is
It's
done.
almost like motion blur, but
Yeah.
but it's like every time I turn the camera, I'm like, ugh, yuck. Like, and that never happens to me. I don't know why, but I don't know what to turn down on that. I turned a couple things down, but it didn't really
Check
work.
for some weird things. It doesn't really have to do with turning, but obviously motion blur, chromatic aberration is a setting I absolutely abhor in games.
Yeah. I
so
had
I
enough
always
of
turn that off.
by Plague Tale Requiem. Requiem is whenever I had enough of it in games. I'm like, what is this? Like, as much as I love that game, I stopped turning. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
So I know some people turn that off because that makes them feel a little bit uncomfortable when they're gaming the way that that's done. So there's one other, chromatic aberration, motion blur, and there's one other.
There's no just motion blur.
What if you try? I would just try it on
playing on
PC.
quality. Yeah, I could.
Too.
Maybe it's just a game that you need the higher frame rate on.
Which is rare, because I am not that person that's like Red and I are the weird ones that are just like, I prefer
like 30 frames.
Not.
Yeah.
I like quality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quality over quantity. But
yep.
I don't know, maybe I'll turn on 60 just to see if it makes a difference, but I'm not sure, because no other games have this issue, that I play on 30. So
And you're playing in third or first, or were you just messing with both?
First.
Okay.
The right way. Red. The right way.
I turned down my FOV to 70. It's at 70 and I'm playing in third. I'm a psychopath. Okay, I love that tight.
Yeah, you like to attack guys with swords with a little stick. I know, right?
Yeah, little very tight, like, field of view. Yeah, I like to be really up close. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
if anybody has the,
I will. Good. I'm
gonna be back.
Okay. All right. Have fun. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it was a terrible time to pause. 60 FPS. Colt says. Shout out, guys. We're gonna get into the main topic here in just a minute. I did want to say that so far with Avowed, I got like giddy while I was playing it, because I got like, oh my god, I'm actually really like excited to play it now that I understand what it is. Just for like the few like 25 minutes that I played it, like, okay, now I understand why people are freaking out about it. So I would say just give it a chance, even if you don't think that it's for you. Just get hands on with it and then just give it a shot, because.
Give it a go.
Give it a go. Hey.
Give it a go.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah. So I played that today. I'm still in The Witcher. I'm like about 80 hours into this final playthrough of The Witcher 3, and I just hit level 14. So if that tells you how much time I'm sinking into this game.
In Avowed, you hit level 14.
No, in The Witcher 3. In The Witcher 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 80 hours in and I'm level 14. Just so you guys understand, I'm also playing on Blood and Broken Bones, which is such a perfect balance for the game. And honestly, DeMarco, I could play on Death March because I understand. I understand now what people say. Like once you get past that threshold of the grind for gear, because it's very gear based. The game becomes way easier than you think. It's like I could totally see myself playing Death March, and before I never understood that because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have that mindset of just being prepared gear wise and using potions all the time. Like, and I did that before. It's just that now you rely on it so heavy that it makes the game feel like a completely new experience, and it makes the game easier as long as you're just very diligent about how you prepare for every single fight. And the game's easy. I don't know. It's not like easy. It's not. The Witcher was never a game that was that difficult. The Witcher was always a game that I found was pretty simple, even on the hardest difficulty. Even if you don't have the right leveled gear, the thing that you're going to struggle with is just it's not the same as a Souls where you make a mistake and you're dead, right? You can make errors even against bosses that are they have that little skull icon. It's like, hey, this guy's tough, and you go, yeah, sure, I'm gonna do it anyway. And on Death March, you can beat him. You'll spend an hour. It'll feel like a Monster Hunter fight because you're doing it for so long. Exactly.
But you can beat him. You just gotta have the patience. The problem is that always got boring for me just because the enemies didn't have enough attack variety. So they'd be doing the same, like slam and then you roll, and then they slam and then you roll, and then they slam. Oh, but now they're gonna clap.
You're like, oh, it's gonna be quicker.
And then they slam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny. I'm also playing with a ton of different settings, so I don't have
mods too, right? You got some mods on?
No, this is on console. This is all on console. I do want to do a mod playthrough, maybe like years from now, like maybe like right before The Witcher 4 comes out. But I'm doing things like I don't have any HUD, and at first I thought that would make things way more difficult. So I don't even have my health bar. But the thing is, whenever you're playing on a higher difficulty, as soon as your red vignette pops up on the screen, you just know, like, if you get hit 1 or 2 times, you're wounded. So there's no reason to have a health bar. It's just distracting. You wouldn't believe, guys, how much like we are so video game literate because we're always looking for a health bar and a stamina bar and a magic bar and all these HUD elements. It would blow your mind how much immersion and how much the game gets elevated whenever you turn those types of elements off, because it makes you focus on everything else but the HUD and the mini map and the icons pointing you where to go. So that's how I play, and it's been amazing. I don't even have a mini map, so whenever I'm looking to where to go to the next objective, I pull up my map and I'm like, okay, go down this road, take a left, and then there will be a building on my right. It's amazing. It's amazing. I am just like, it's so good, man. So
it's easy to get immersed into that world too, and then you find out you've been riding in the opposite direction for the past 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I really thought I knew what I was doing, but that wasn't north. All I had to do was go in a straight line that way, and somehow I'm 20 minutes east.
It's so true, dude. I'm like, oh, I just gotta go straight down this road, take a left, it'll be right there, and I just go straight, and I'm like, where is it? And I realize, like you just said, I'm like half a mile out of the way. Anyway, that, and I'm almost... It's so hard. There's 3 RPGs now. There's Avowed, Starfield, and The Witcher, and I'm like, I can't do 3 of these at the same time. So I'm really just sort of like sucked into The Witcher, and I'm still like gearing up my Starfield playthrough, and I have like 12 hours in it, but I've hardly done anything, just trying to make sure everything is stable. Anyway, shout out to Jonas. What's up, man? Executive producer. Anyway, DeMarco, what you been into, man, or if anything?
I jumped a little bit into Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 actually just yesterday.
Ooh.
And I have to say, Warhorse, it's such a breath of fresh air, because even early on, they just don't have the cringy dialogue that a lot of modern games like. That was everyone's biggest complaint, or one of everyone's biggest complaints with, for example, the Veil Guard, was the childish dialogue and some childish writing. And I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, and just those opening scenes, yeah, it has some like cliches to it and such, but I don't know, the whole sequence where you're putting together the opening of the game, you're putting together a sword with your father, he's making it for the count that's, you know, that's ruling over the land, that the town that you're in. And it's a great moment. It's wholesome, it's believable, it's real. Like, there's a way you can lose instantaneously, like within the first 30 minutes of the game pretty much, and I did, which was a lot of fun. So you already kind of get introduced to that level of consequence to your decisions pretty early on. And then of course it's stepping into this. It does a very good job of just reminding you, and this is how Jonas has always described that game, right? Of just reminding you that you're a peasant. Like, you can't, you've practiced with a wooden sword. And so when you go out to fight somebody, your experience was training in a sheepyard with a wooden sword against a guy who just happened to be going through town 2 days ago. And you're just like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's a different experience. It's a fun experience, and I wanted to make sure that I jumped into the first one before I ever did get into the second one.
That's what I'll do too. Yeah.
And it's fun. And then I do like to hop into my indie titles now and again, and I have actually jumped into Wildermyth. Do you know Wildermyth?
I've heard of it. I don't even think I've seen it, but I definitely.
It's a cool fantasy take on XCOM, and you play. But the gimmick to that game, I think I've talked about it on the show before. But the gimmick to that game is that your characters actually age. Like, there's a kind of a tabletop board game element to it. There's an overworld, and then there's the actual XCOM combat. And so you're traveling around, and days are passing, and years are passing, and as that happens, your characters, your party is growing older, and they're developing relationships, and they're getting married, and they're having kids, and then your kids are coming and fighting alongside you, and then they're like, oh man, I'm 80 years old, I'm gonna retire now. And so you're like, man, I really like that guy, but all right, he's 85 and he's been fighting demons for the past 60 years, like, let him have a rest.
Right.
And then you play as like the kid, like the kid is going up now, and he's all leveled up, and he's a warrior. So it's a really cool take on the series. And then it's all done, there's no dialogue in it that's spoken, there's no voice acting, but it's all done through like these comic panels basically that come across the screen, and then you like hit next, and you read through it.
Love that.
So it's different. It's a lot of reading. The writing, I'm not going to say is like this brilliant masterpiece of writing there, but it does well enough to keep you engaged while you're going on this journey with these characters that you make. And super unique game. Little indie studio made it. Highly recommend it. They have 2 DLCs out for it too, which was one like added some new weapons and outfits and stuff, and so pretty cool. Would love to see more from those guys, but Wildermyth, check it out. It's a good one.
Okay.
And then all those games went on sale on Steam. The co-op sale.
Okay.
So,
There's been a lot of
things
sales
like,
going on lately, namely 2K sales and stuff like that, like lots of 2K games. Holly, you look peeved.
No. Just don't be a landlord, like, ever.
Don't ever be a landlord. Exactly.
It's like a 2 out of 10 experience. Like, 2 because you get money, but the other 8 isn't worth it. So just don't do it. That's
Luck
the story.
be a landlady tonight. Satanic, greetings. Did y'all try Avowed yet? Yes, we did. Well, DeMarco hasn't yet, but he will.
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I know that you were hyped for it. So maybe with Holly and I's first impressions, it'll get you a little more excited because.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it. The only thing that I saw in reviews, because I watched Maddie, I watched ACG, I watched a couple. The only thing that I go, damn it, Obsidian with, is that I've heard that the world is very stagnant. About his pronouns. I've heard that the world is very stagnant.
Whoa.
That NPCs are sort of waiting for you to approach them, MMO style. They're just sort of standing around.
Oh,
and
okay.
That was an issue with the Outer Worlds. That was one of the things I didn't like about the Outer Worlds. And so when I saw that they did that again in Avowed, I was like, really? They're making that same mistake. Like, they should have improved their world building, and instead it seems like that part of it stayed the same. And then you amplify that with some companions that people said they weren't too crazy about, and I went, all right, I'm still excited for it.
Yeah.
Because I like fantasy. The one thing, I can't wait to try the combat though, because the things they did in the combat are exactly what I want Elder Scrolls to try to do with, like, for example, instead of just swinging your axe around in combat, in melee combat for Elder Scrolls, now you actually have abilities. You could do a hammer slam, you could do like a little leap, you could do all different things in combat, and then also you can have your giant battle axe, shoot a spell, and then you'll pull your battle axe back out, which you could do in Oblivion, and then they said in Skyrim, nope, can't do that anymore. So
right,
you know, there's a lot in the combat and the world reactivity, the way that you can use spells. Like, I saw footage of them using an ice spell over a lake, and it freezes a part of the lake, so you can use that as a platform to go across it. Like, that stuff is cool, and I like seeing that, and I want more of that in games.
Yeah, and it's funny, I did like a little test on the beach. I held my left trigger, and he did like this power up fist. I was like, oh, I just got my fist out right now. I did like a power up fist move with my left, did a power up fist move with my right fist. I pulled out my spear, and I did the same thing, power up, like, stab. And I was like, let me jump and do this. So I held it, and then I jumped up and did the power up, and he does like this dive. And I'm like, it's just like what you said. It's like little stuff like that would just, and it has like this, you know how like a lot of melee games, melee focused games have like this sort of like homing ability, like where whenever you're near enough to an enemy, you'll sort of like get sucked to them a little bit, so the combat feels a little more like intentional. Like, you're looking at this guy, so your dude will sort of come into them just a little bit, instead of just like Skyrim, where it's like you have to be right up against them to be like, you know, attacking them. It just feels a lot better in that way, and so far it's just so minimal. I haven't even done anything with anything, so just like that it just feels really good. And again, I'm playing in third person, it feels great, so there's that. Anyway, but hey, look, and shout out to everyone here. 4XP Gaming is here as well. Good to see you, man, or you, man. I don't know, whoever is. I'm always assuming it's the main, the main man. But they're all main men. They're all made men too. We'll talk about 4XP in the future. Excited to do some stuff with them. Shout out to Colt Eastwood. He was saying, I need help with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Maybe you should get into the first one. I don't know. It's hard. That game's hard to recommend, because I've heard that you really need to play the first one to get to the second one story wise, because it's so heavily focused on it. But
they explain it, but it is very driven around Henry as a character.
Yeah,
it's like his story, you know. So
yeah. Hey guys, there's 43 people here watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we just have a good time. We don't console war. We just have fun, and we cuss, and we say a lot of edgy stuff, and it's fantastic, and we love that. I'm just projecting on everyone else, so that no one else does that but me. That's not true either. But stick around, you'll find out. But yeah, shout out to over 40 people here hanging out. It's incredible. It's incredible. Over a year ago, I was like, shout out to the 2 people here watching us. Oh, that's us that are watching us. So anyway, all right, let's do this thing. Okay, so I don't know what's real anymore, but like, we talk about video game layoffs so much, like it's just normal part of everyday life in the gaming industry. And so today, shout out to, was it Wario64, I think, that broke it from another platform that the American, one of the American studio, like the B team of Marvel Rivals, the Americans, he was laid off along with a lot of the other American people. The sort of like the support studios was laid off. A lot of people got laid off amidst the absolute incredible success that Marvel Rivals is. And we're seeing tons of layoffs. And I put out a tweet because I was angry and I was tired whenever I saw this, and I was like, fuck! because this is the industry. You know, we always talk about the CEOs and higher ups that get millions of dollar salaries, and then they lay off people with like, you know, salaries of $50,000 or $40,000 a year, and it's just disgusting. But then I saw other things of people saying, well, it's just redundancy and these guys are fine. Then I saw one of our friends who were like, oh, they were laundering money. And I'm like, and then not only that, all these different news articles, Marvel Rivals themselves, the main Twitter account starts blowing up. Hey, Blade's coming, and the Thing's coming. They're a new character. Shout out, and we got a whole new season coming. And they just started like flooding the social media space, like trying to cover, to my eyes, trying to cover up what's happening. Like, don't look. And so it's insane to me that a game, and so it's so disheartening. Like, I hate talking about like the negative news in the gaming industry, but whenever we see like a massive success like this, no one is ever safe anymore. It is the shittiest thing in the world. Like, and I love Marvel Rivals to death, but now I have like a sour like, I don't know, it just sucks. And honestly, guys in chat, we don't even really know exactly what we could just go ahead and say. It's redundancy, and it's also about my opinion was that this seems to be like about projections. So like, they made a shitload of money. There are people who are sort of I guess again redundant in their space. We have 2 art directors. Do we still need an art director? Well, we got one. Let's cut the slack a little bit, and then that way our projections look way better for our investors and our shareholders and blah blah blah. That whole corporate speak. So that's what I've seen. I'm not saying that any of this is fact. What the fact is that these people did get laid off, and I don't think that it's exact. And chat, help me out here, keep me honest. I don't think that it's the main studio head. I think it was just on the American side. NetEase is the one that owns all of this stuff, and they're based in China, I believe. So as far as like, I don't want to get like into politics about all that, but I will say that people lost their jobs.
You can't type Taiwan into the chat.
Don't type that.
You can't type in 1989 into the chat.
Right. Yep. Thank you. That wasn't Asmund. But yeah. Yeah. So it just sucks, man. Like, we could see the biggest gaming success ever, and depending on who owns this, whatever the IP might be, people lose their jobs all the time. And I just yeah, go ahead.
I just today I saw like the meme of the guy who's like you see that he's between the 2 buttons, and then the left button says get laid off, and the right button says make a great game and get laid off, and he's just like like the sweating. And it's horrible to laugh at that. It's horrible to laugh at it, but like it's sad that that's the reality of the situation, is that that's how things are going.
Yeah, it's awful. And let's see, Slow Lark said, this is why more people need to buy indies. Small teams need the support, and they're not going to cut staff to appease shitty shareholders. It's exactly right, man. It's exactly right. And even like in the AA space, like we're only seeing it with companies that can afford these insane budgets. Like, I would love to know what the budget was for Marvel Rivals, because honestly, at first glance, you wouldn't think that it's like, I guess like on the gameplay level, you wouldn't think that it has a massive budget, but then you look at the other stuff that they did, like as far as the presentation of things, like you know what I'm talking about, DeMarco, like the animated stuff that they do with the semi cutscene. Even like cutscenes alone are like straight up like out of Fortnite. How many millions of dollars did those 30-second trailers for Fortnite cost? Like, are people getting laid off at Take-Two, or sorry, is it Take-Two Fortnite? Can't remember.
Epic.
Thank you. Yeah, same thing. Am I right? But yeah, it just sucks. But yeah, Slowlark, it's a really good point. William Riggs, let's get Red Wolf to 1 million today. Yeah, I would love to get to 2,000. That would be great. I'd love to get out of that rut. If you're new here, subscribe, please, God. Yeah. So anyway, Holly, what do you think? As DeMarcus stands up, perfect timing. What do you think about what's happening? And we don't know like the hardcore facts, but what we do know is that Marvel Rivals main Twitter account tried to cover all this up immediately. Like, look at this, look at my kids. Anyway, what do you think about all this?
Well, I always have a difficult time with people losing their jobs when they've lost them for no reason, if they weren't money laundering or whatever, right? Rumor that was that
Yeah.
we don't know where that
Yeah,
came
we
from.
don't know.
But other than that, I don't play this game. It doesn't affect me. But I do feel very sorry, of course, for the people that lose their jobs for very unfortunate things, such as a simple thing as redundancy. But I feel like the games industry is kind of brutal and to be employed in. So, there's a lot of movement, and I feel like you always have to be prepared that tomorrow could be your last day at your job. It seems, especially when you have a game that has released, right? Because creating the game versus maintaining the game it's two different things, right? At least as far as I understand it. And I feel like if I was in the games industry, I would have a couple things. I would work to have as good of a nest egg as I can for those months that I don't have a job, because it's going to come. And then also, I would also be looking at working on having a diverse set of skills, right? Not a particular set of skills, a diverse set of skills.
Particular set of skills. Yeah.
So that you could, make sure that you're able to be as mobile as possible, whether it's in gaming or something else, right? Always have a backup plan, and that's what we're learning from all of these.
It's funny. This is strange, and maybe I'm just speaking out of like experience. Like, the games industry, like, it always seems like when someone is laid off, they're not only, you never like want to burn bridges, but it seems like every single time that I've ever seen a dev get laid off, they're very like, hey, just got laid off, and they're like very like through gritted teeth. They just got laid off today. It's great. It's such a great fucking time working with these people. So if you know anyone that needs a fucking dev, let me know.
Well, I think it's like Goodrich said, like a gig job, right? Like, I think that's very accurate, right? Like, you're hired to work on a certain IP or a new game that's coming out, and you either have to make yourself so invaluable to the company in so many ways, right? Which is very rare and very hard to do. Or you have to be prepared. Yes. Or you have to be prepared that these are my skills. I know where this game is progressing. I should also be looking at the same time to move on to the next gig before they tell me I need to move on to the next gig.
That's exactly,
right?
that's exactly what I was getting to.
But that's also horrible for actual game development, I would assume, because you have a team and you want to keep that team cohesive, right? So, you don't want to leave too early, but you also need to be able to be fluid, or just know that you're going to ride this out and have some time that may come where you will be unemployed for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and that's exactly, it's so good. Thank you for Goodrich Games. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. It's every time that I see a dev tweet out how they're leaving, how they had a great time, they just got fired, it does always seem like their tone is like, well, that was fun. So anyway, let me know if you guys need another dev for another game, and I'll see you there. And
you mean as in like surprised, or
no,
I mean everybody's
like,
disappointed when their job ends, like period. Even if you know it's coming, right?
I guess like to me, like maybe because like it's such a different industry. Like, but to me, like if I got laid off and fired, which I have been before, it's like earth-shattering. My life is over type feeling. It's not like, well, guess that just happened. Guess I'm gonna go on to the next thing. And it's like maybe they're just way more optimistic, or maybe they're just way better at saving their money than me.
I think no. I would like to imagine that it's a situation where they know they need to be professional about it.
Right. That's what I meant. They don't want to burn bridges. That's exactly.
It's so common in this industry, and they look. I mean, part of these they get laid off. It doesn't mean that they can't go back to the same studio, right? There's only so many studios. There's a lot now. There's a lot new ones opening up, and There's lots of indie teams that are being led by. We see, for example, what's going on with Exodus and stuff like that, right? So lots of potential there, but it doesn't mean that they won't end up working back with Bethesda, or they won't end up working back
Absolutely
with
they will.
2K, or back
Yep.
with, NetEase.
Especially because you make relationships at all these different places that you're at, and you don't always get fired because you were bad at your job, you didn't get along with people, whatever it is, right? It's just that time has come, we're closing these spots, whatever. So you wind up getting picked up by other people that you've worked with at different places, or they move on, and then when it's your turn to look for a new place, you might wind up with them again, or the same people stay at a studio, you get laid off, you go somewhere else, and then they're hiring again and they remember you, right? It's all about networking.
Yep. Yep, networking
To a
is
point, right? Like, there's also new kids coming in with all kinds of new skills. We know AI is emerging, whether you like it or not. It's an emerging thing, right? So having skills for certain, you got to keep up, right? Which is any job. That's not just gaming. That's any job.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess whoopsie. And I guess, hang on, let me change this over here. Well, I guess he's going to be...
Also, shout out real fast, because we brought up indies really quickly. One of the absolute best publishers is Annapurna, and they are having a show on February 24th. So if you do like indies, which I do, I love indies, keep that in mind. Check it out. That's it.
Okay. I'll wait for him to come in. Let me grab some. Real quick, Game Seeker, thank you so much, bro, with the Canadian 5. Thank you so much. He says my kiddo wanted to donate his allowance for doing my laundry for a year. Just kidding, not really. Thank you so much, bro. You did not have to do that. I really love it. Paka says, "What's indie? What's indie? It means
Indie.
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 Let me grab some of these chat. You guys are killing it in chat. I'm trying to grab. Jonas says, AAA will continue to have layoffs even with success because the industry is slowly readjusting itself to normalcy after years of bloated expansion at these larger companies. Yeah, it's really well said. BT Maverick says, how much is that Disney license for Marvel though? Yeah. And then Colt says, Red, if you hit 2K, you're just gonna want more, and so on. You'll never be happy. I just want to get out of the teens, man. I want to be a man. The Elemental Shadow, the Dragon Link Heroes Shadow Dragon Link Wolf King says, well, here's another problem. You got those people that moved to work into that studio, and now they are in trouble because they moved to the studio. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Arcane. 1 second. Let me get this before I lose track because I know how I am. ADD. Goodrich Games says the turnover is why so much brain drain, and as well we have so much brain drain in games, and that's why you see the same mistakes getting made. And Blade Glame, exactly. Toxic Buttwind is here. Thank you. I'm usually a little late, so if you catch a smell, it's probably because I crop dusted. I have to keep up with my beans. Totally understandable, which I'm right there with you. C-Steph, what's up, man? Says, I think the devs have to say they loved working at the company due to some possibility NDAs they signed, or they don't want to. They don't want the big company to go after them for defamation and be ruined. Yeah, exactly. It's very true. Yeah, so it's slander and defamation. It's like you said you wouldn't say anything bad about us before we effed you in the A. So. Yeah, I love that.
We love typos. Typos are like a highlight of the way we talk. It's not a bad thing.
No, it is. It's great. I knew what you meant, Pekka. I knew what you meant. Jonas says it's more comparable to the film industry in some sense. A lot of people are hired per project. Film studios don't have permanent jobs for film crews because you don't need a gaffer while the script is being written or the film is being edited. And let me tell you, Jonas knows what he's talking about. He went to school for movies and film and cinema and all those other big words.
Well, and I mean, anybody, right? In any industry, you just want to be very careful about how you spoke about your employer, because if you come across too problematic, right? Unless it's like an actual super bad grievance, right? That I think people definitely understand and are willing to forgive about that. But
Right. Like Blake Lively.
If you just complain though a lot and it's vocal, like that does affect how people perceive, they're like, well, what are you going to say about us, right? Like, but that happens in any job. So,
Right.
yeah.
Train brain. Speaking of train brain, thank you. Arcane.
I can't time out Arcane.
Filling in for
time him out when I have to
Oh,
look at
that's
him.
good. Okay, I didn't know that. That's great. That's great to know. So Arcane is filling in for Assassin today, which is fantastic. Arcane,
Yeah,
man,
hope
how
I'm
are
not,
you?
Hope
No,
I'm not
no.
barging in. I always
no.
feel like I have to ask permission ahead of time, but yeah, no,
Maybe
I'm
ask
doing
me.
well, man. So
Welcome. Can you tell? I want to know about your beanie, because I have this beanie and it just fits my head just like perfectly. But can you just like lean your head forward? Can I see like the top of the beanie? Can you just? So it just totally just fits your head. Look at that. I need. Thank you. What the fuck? You just send me a link to these, because that looks great. I love the. Yeah, I need.
well,
I need
this
a new
one
beanie.
is this one's kind of loose fitting. It's gone through the washer and dryer several times. So
Okay, you just got to buy a new one and just throw it in there. Just leave it in the washer essentially.
well, yeah, I mean, I have a whole collection of beanies that some are loose fitting. Like this one's my favorite because it's not like squeezing my head till it's gonna pop like a melon. I have others
Yes.
that will just like
Or it gives
give
you a
me
headache.
yes, and
Yeah.
with these two over my ears, like
Dude, I get this
have
dent in the top of my head right here when
Yeah.
I try to wear headphones. I get this
Same
dent,
though, yeah.
and I have to pull my headset like back and then forward, and then I take my hat off, and I have like this like satanic symbol on the top of my head. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like really, at least right now, you wouldn't know because I'm wearing the hat, but like my hair is like grown out a lot. It's really thick and curly, so I have the same thing except it's in my hair. So there's this huge dent right along the middle of my hairline there.
I love
But
that.
no, I'm good though, man. So I just wanted to jump in and just chat with you guys because the Marvel Rivals news dropped.
Yeah.
and-
So, what is your take, man? What is your take on all this, the Marvel Rivals news, and what do you actually like know about it? And while you do that, I'm gonna pee.
So obviously I know only about as much as everybody else does, but I think there's a couple of, yeah, I am a beanie connoisseur, Jonas, that's correct. I know about as much as everybody else does, but there are a couple of things to keep in mind that I thought were kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know how recent this story broke, but there was a story that broke a while ago talking about how there were some developers on the Marvel Rivals team who were being investigated for potential money laundering. So there's that. I'm not saying it has something to do with it. I'm also saying it doesn't have anything to do with it. It could be, it's like a 50-50 thing. We really don't know. The other thing to consider in reference to Red's tweet, which I saw about it, he actually got community notes on that tweet on X, and what it mentioned was that a lot of the staff that got laid off were part of a support team based in Seattle, so actually based here in the US, not a part of the main Chinese development team overseas over in the East. So those are just two, I think, kind of important things to maybe keep in mind with the whole thing. Obviously, my opinion doesn't differ all that much from anybody else here on the panel. Layoffs in any way, shape, or form are always a tragedy because you're losing a lot of institutional knowledge when it comes to game dev. Some of these people are most likely going to land on their feet somewhere else, which is great. A lot of the others are probably never going to get back into game development ever again. They're going to move somewhere else in the tech industry or in a completely different industry outside of tech in gaming. And that's a tragedy because the learned experience of all these people, all of their years worth of experience and knowledge in the industry is just gone. like at the snap of a finger, relating to Marvel being Thanos snapped, ironically enough. But yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to say about it, at least in regards to the layoffs. Now, with Marvel Rivals specifically, I think it's still too early to tell how exactly this is going to affect the game long term.
I don't
because
think it will.
You don't think so?
No,
I
I think they look. The reality is that the game has been a massive success for everybody
100%.
involved, and you don't scale. They actually, to be honest, the scary reality of their decision is that it's probably healthier for the game, because we saw, for example, what happened with, I think it was Helldivers. Like, Helldivers scaled up in order to meet the demand that game had. The problem was Helldivers had a very repetitive formula, so it wore thin very quickly. And even with those scale ups, they were not able to meet the content demand required in order to continue to have engaging missions and engaging levels and all that stuff. So what Marvel did, and Marvel Rivals and NetEase did with scaling down, they know the team that they need to maintain the content output that they had in mind, which was what, 4 heroes per season, 2 maps per season, whatever. They pretty clearly laid it out, but they wouldn't scale down if they didn't know they could meet those demands. And the reality is, when NetEase explained, this is how we're going to do our seasons and this is the content, there wasn't a single person, I think, single rational person at least, that came out and said, I don't know, that doesn't seem like enough content for me. I think you really need more than 4 heroes in 4 months, like whatever the number is. Right? So they didn't have any backlash. People didn't really complain about it. They said, actually, that's a pretty good amount to keep getting out of us. So NetEase said, we're fine. We can do it with this team. And then, as you mentioned, there might have been some redundancies, Arcane, as you just mentioned. With it was a support team, and they realized, hey, they're not really, and that's the sad reality of it. Not to make light of
it's always
layoffs,
it's so often the QA and the support teams that are given the boot first, and it's a damn shame, because it's like, QA is such an undervalued part of game development. It just, in general, that's so important to make sure your game comes out and it's as technically and visually polished as it can possibly be once you actually get it into the hands of consumers and whatnot. But yeah, no, and you made a good point there with the comparison with like what Arrowhead was doing with Helldivers 2, because that was an interesting scenario.
Look at Pal World 2. Pal World, I don't know how Pal World is currently doing. I have no concept of how Pal World is currently doing. Pal World. I have no concept how they're currently doing, but I know that they scaled up massively, and they might be looking at that going, we kind of put the cart before the horse with that one. Like,
I see a lot of people in the chat talking about how the Marvel IP, specifically with regards to the film and the television shows, is like nosediving, which kind of sort of related to that. I actually saw Captain America this past weekend, and it was all right, but I think it speaks to a larger issue, which is like there's been a serious drop off in quality after Avengers Endgame. But in relation to what everybody in the chat is saying, I don't think that's really going to have an effect on Marvel Rivals, and it hasn't up to this point. I mean, look at how successful Marvel Rivals has been. The IP of Marvel is bigger than just the MCU. It's grown so far beyond that. You can do so many interesting and creative things with the Marvel IP. And we've seen that in gaming is like the pitch perfect example. You look at Insomniac's Spider-Man, and There's the rumor they're gonna do a Venom spinoff, and obviously we know they're doing Wolverine. Arcane is doing Blade. So there's a whole lot, and then Marvel Rivals, the hero shooter concept, which honestly surprised it took somebody this long to realize, like, why don't we actually put the hero in hero shooter? But Marvel is such a huge IP that it's basically almost like a monolith. It's so high up, and it's on this pillar that it's untouchable in a lot of ways.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of superhero fatigue, particularly around Marvel.
Oh, for sure. And I'm not like disregarding or denying that either. It's completely valid. Again, like, I think what I said just now is, like, I saw Captain America Brave New World, and I thought it was just okay. When
that's what I've heard.
By all accounts, it should have been fantastic. By all accounts. But, again, just everything. I think so. I thought the premise was interesting, and I think it went back to an earlier stage in the MCU where they were just more cohesive and more connected to a lot of things in the ongoing universe. But anyway, I'm not going to make it all about that, but Holly makes a great point. It's like, yeah, there's obviously superhero fatigue, but I think Marvel Rivals does enough stuff differently and uniquely that it's
I think video games is different too, though. Like, we very rarely get good superhero games, right?
Yeah. Well, just look at some of the recent ones we've gotten from DC and Warner Brothers. Am I right, DeMarco? Right?
I don't know what you're talking
Right?
It's like, I need you to say it out loud.
Say it, brother.
Say it, brother. Yeah, and I think for me, like, I'm very picky and choosy with things that have become very oversaturated, the superhero genre. For me, like, in saturated markets, I tend to go backwards to the things that were good whenever I was really excited for it, which is why, I'm playing The Witcher. Last night, I fell asleep watching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1. It was great. I loved it.
Good movie.
Like, Holly, stop.
Fell asleep watching it?
No, like, I went to bed watching. I was like, this is comforting.
Okay, I was gonna say, you fall asleep
So
during
good.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. How dare you?
It was like,
That's
it's perfect.
sacrilege. Borderline.
It's just so good.
The only
I
way
love...
to watch it with your eyes closed and your mind checked out.
It's a good movie.
It is
so
a great
good.
movie. It's one of the best superhero
should try
movies
it.
ever
That
made.
is terrible.
You should try it.
Spider-Man 2 is fantastic.
So
Spider-Man
good.
2
Spider-Man
is
2
one
is
of
the best.
the best
Yeah.
superhero movies ever made.
It's so good.
So good.
Holly, I need you to stop.
Holly, why? I'm revoking your Call of Duty
license.
Call of Duty. No, my offer
His
to
friend
play
passed
You
his
can't
offer.
do that.
my
It was
Warzone.
a
I'm
birthday
revoking my.
gift.
No, you
There's
have.
no way for you to do that. It is contractually binding. It's on record.
I
Other
don't know.
podcasts.
That Spider-Man take really hits deep.
It does. Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, well.
Well, Holly, you're not like a big fan of a lot of superhero stuff in general, right? But Spider-Man particularly, you're like, nah.
I don't really like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I
so
love
it's-
Spider-Man as a kid, but
Wait,
then they
what?
made Tobey Maguire movies, and I was like, T-Rash, and I was done with it.
You like him as a
Uh,
kid?
No, when I was a kid, I liked the
when
Spider-Man
you
cartoon.
were a kid. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
like, I thought you were saying I like him as a kid. I'm like, he
Is a kid.
Is a
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
No, I
Yeah.
liked him as a kid, but
I
I saw that movie and I was like, well, there goes Spider-Man. We're done with him. That just ruined the whole thing. I actually think Tom Holland does a pretty good job with it.
He's good.
Yeah. I've only seen a couple of those, and that was just more by accident, just because they ruined Spider-Man forever with Tobey Maguire, and I never watched any of the rest past the first two. I never saw any of the Andrew Garfield ones or
Andrew Garfield is very
the DeMarco ones.
underappreciated
I mean,
in my
I'm
opinion.
sorry.
I loved Andrew Garfield's take on it. He was such an
He was
asshole.
good. He was good. He was
so
just
good.
very very underappreciated at the time. So
Yeah.
I think part of the
I
issue with
do
like
love-
Toby's films is like they're so old now that there's a campiness to the Toby
He
films.
was like
Yes.
40 when he did those. He just
That's
like
true.
it
Yeah.
doesn't
That's true.
look like a
I-
it doesn't look like a 17-year-old boy. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
there's a campiness to those films, but they're also unapologetic about that. I think.
And the
which
Green
is what-
Goblin was so bad, and the Octopus one was terrible. It was like so
Whoa!
over.
It-
Shut
Oh,
it down!
amazing.
Shut it down!
I love Willem Dafoe.
Fire.
I love Willem Dafoe.
Wow.
But
Friendly
we
We just
fire.
lost
was
4
so
people.
Good.
That was fine.
That's
Totally
It was
crazy.
It was.
But
it
I
was
love-
campy because
I-
it was campy because it basically like pioneered superhero films.
That's why I brought it up.
It
That's
had-
actually why I
It
brought it
had
up.
to be.
It
It did.
Superman did in the early like 79
that
or
Superman
whatever
was
year that
campy.
came in.
But that didn't
Superman was
popularize it. I wouldn't
I'm
say that.
actually
I
so
would say
hung
that-
up. I'm so hung up right now by
Are
the
you
fact that
kidding
she's
right now?
saying Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe were trash. Like,
I love those
That's-
actors. Those
Okay.
movies are trash. Stuff a lot. I was like all in on Captain America and Iron Man and Marvel.
Inner
Shut up.
Peace,
But
Inner
you know, since I was a kid, the Hulk is my favorite, and they've never given him a good movie. Drives me nuts. The Hulk and Superman are
Yeah, but you
my
have Hulk
all-time
Ultimate
favorites.
Destruction, so you have the best
And they
game
keep
ever made.
screwing up the best superheroes in all of the universes. Yeah, sorry, I yelled in your ear.
You do have.
No, it's
Come
okay.
back.
I like it. Yeah. Hey, listen. Let's see. Shout out to Droopy Nuts. I'm just gonna say your name the way you want me to say it. Droopy Nuts says, "So stoked! I start my new job on Thursday. Yay me! So excited for you, bro. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it." And you have the ADHD profile picture instead of ACDC. I love that. I love that. So shout out to you, man. That is a whole new adventure. You're gonna meet new people, and oh man, it's exciting. I'm like living vicariously through you. Game Seeker says, "Was Red Hulk cool?" I don't know if you answered that, Arcane. Was Harrison Ford good?
Oh, he was great. He was actually one of the best parts about the movie because obviously his character Thaddeus Ross was previously played by a different actor in the MCU, William Hurt, and he
Yes.
unfortunately passed away. So the last movie he did as that character, I think, was Black Widow. He had a very brief appearance in Black Widow, but he was a great version of the character, and Harrison Ford plays him a little bit differently, but context is important. The context of the storyline and like what his character goes through is really interesting. Speaking of Hulk, they really tie it back to a very, very underappreciated MCU film, in my opinion, which is The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. This one has heavy narrative ties to that film. And I really liked it because I think that's an underappreciated MCU film, and if I had my way, I would have wanted Marvel, honestly, to keep Edward Norton instead of Mark Ruffalo. It's my hot
Oh
take.
yeah, Mark Ruffalo. He ain't it.
He's okay, but like Edward Norton, just looking back, was like, man, we don't know what we had until he was gone.
He was rough on set. Apparently, what was the whole deal with that?
Well,
but-
that was at a time when Marvel was
He's
still
a
figuring out a
genius.
whole bunch of behind the scenes crap. But anyway, no, the narrative tiebacks to the Incredible Hulk I thought were really cool. The one thing that kills it is, and this is light spoilers, very, very light. I'm going to refrain from mentioning anything specific, but the whole film is building to Red Hulk. And
Yeah.
if they had not revealed that in the marketing, it would have hit a lot harder. By the time he actually turns into Red Hulk, you're like, oh,
You know they
shit.
needed to get people in the seats, and there was only
Yeah.
one way they were doing that.
Yeah, I recognize that. There's the business reality, and then most people aren't interested in Sam Wilson as Captain America, which, to Anthony Mackie's credit, I think he did a pretty good job. He's not Chris Evans. He's not Steve Rogers. He's a very different Captain America, but I feel like he played the lead role well enough that I was like, I buy him. Me personally, I buy him as the new Captain America. Like, I'm sold on him. But yeah,
They should have just called him Captain Falcon, and then they should have had a Falcon punch in it somewhere.
I mean,
Oh, there you go, yeah.
to your point,
It was a
DeMarco,
missed opportunity,
Yeah.
and I won't forgive them for this.
I understand why they revealed Red Hulk in the marketing. I just think they're gonna eventually realize that it's gonna come back to bite them in the ass, because the movie made a decent amount of money opening weekends, but the second weekend drop off is gonna be, I'm predicting that it's gonna be pretty major. So there's some good things about the movie. There's some not great things. I'll stop just short of saying terrible or bad. You know, I think the stuff they're teasing.
With your friends, you go to the movies, you get a good flick, you turn your brain off, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. That's
you go on the
literally what it
discount.
is.
You go on the discount price, you know.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. I mean, they marketed it as kind of a Winter Soldier-esque political thriller. It is not that at all. It is a very straightforward plot to follow, but they tease a lot of interesting stuff. Like, it's not a spoiler. If you've seen the marketing, you know that they're introducing adamantium now into the MCU. And they're tying it back to Eternals for the 5 people who watched and enjoyed that movie,
Yeah,
like
I
myself.
I liked Eternals. I'm not gonna lie.
I liked
Yeah, I
it
never
too.
I thought it
Like,
was actually not terrible.
No, it wasn't. I
you know
enjoyed
what?
it for what it was. So
I thought it was
I just-
actually not terrible. Is my description of that movie. That says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Holly, what are you gonna say?
I was just gonna address a chat that came through and confirm
Please.
that indeed Mr. Arnold as Mr. Freeze was better than any of those Spider-Man movies.
oh my god. All right. Who's saying this? Who's
No, they
saying
said I probably liked Arnold as Mr. Freeze, and I'm just saying that Arnold as Mr. Freeze was better as a character than either of those two villains.
Yeah, I'm
In
not
the scripting. That's it.
I'm not gonna I can't. I can't.
If there was a timeout button on Discord, I would do it right now.
I just your love of Arcane, just like me, can only take this friendship so far, Holly, when you continue to deliver take after take after take that deserves to go right into the dumpster. Anyway.
So anyway,
Red posing like that is better than the Spider-Man.
fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway,
No,
no,
it's good.
but so yeah, just in summation, I think DeMarco actually said it best. It really is just a very straightforward. You go in, bucket of popcorn, drink. You go with a couple of friends. You're bound to have a pretty decent time. It is not the "we are so back" or "it is so over" moment for the MCU, because it feels like we've been on a roller coaster of that. It's just okay. It is a very middle of the road, average film in the overall MCU. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was all right. So
Sorry, I had to sneeze a little bit. That's great. That was our segment of Brave New World. It's funny, like last time that I was watching the Marvel stuff, I was going through everything in order and I was having like a really great time with it. And I stopped after I was like halfway through Luke Cage, I think. And I was like, let me take a break, because whenever you're watching the Marvel movies in order like that, and it comes down to like the grounded level of MCU after watching things like Avengers and stuff like that, you're like, whoa, we like slowed way the hell down. So, but I know I'm on episode 3 of Luke Cage.
Luke Cage was all right back in the day. I thought that was pretty good.
Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
I haven't watched it, but like
Jessica Jones
need to
was
watch
actually pretty good. I only watched the first season, but David Tennant's villain, I forget his name. Oh,
Dude,
God, he was
Yeah.
he was from
terrifying. He was
Heroes.
horrifying.
You're talking about the dude from Heroes, right? Dude with the smiley
No,
guy?
he
David
was
Tennant
Doctor
was
Who.
Doctor Who.
He played Doctor Who.
That's
yeah.
what I'm talking about. He was in Heroes. Yeah.
Oh, well, Heroes was before my time, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was like 1970. No, that was like 2000.
Shows how old you are, huh?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I am 52, so. Punisher.
I'm very excited
good.
for Born Again, Daredevil Born Again.
Me
'Cause
too.
it's
I need to
basically
finish.
just like they were eventually they were starting, I think, by doing a soft reboot and not even continuing from the Netflix series, and then people like me got on their ass about it, like, what are you doing? Just literally just do season 4 of the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it looks like that's what they're doing now, and they're bringing back John Bernthal. Hopefully, he can have another season as the Punisher, because he was
Yeah. that was
incredible. He was awesome. So.
Thomas Jane, I thought John Bernthal is great. I am just so locked in with Thomas Jane being Punisher, and he's too old to play him now. That's not fair. It's not like he's too old. It's just that we would have to have like a separate like multiverse version of Thomas Jane as the Punisher if we were ever going to get him back again, like an old grizzled Thomas Jane. He was so good, and that was like my first live action version of Punisher that I was like, nailed it. I love that so much.
I think they actually reference his version of the character in Deadpool and Wolverine, if I'm not mistaken. His particular version of the characters, because they're like, oh, we've got Punisher's rocket launcher, and it's probably not the Ray Stevenson one. It's probably the Thomas Jane version, I guess.
So. Yeah. He was just so good because he was so like at any moment you knew he was just like he had like this so like I don't give an F attitude, which is totally Punisher. John Bernthal does it too, by the way. Just like this, I'm killing everyone and I don't give a damn about anyone. But and Thomas Jane's version of it was so like subdued, where he was like way more scarier in my opinion because how chill he was like the majority of that movie. Like remember whenever he asked the son, he's like, hold this, and he like puts the IED in the dude's hand, and he's like, it's 2.5 pounds, try holding that up for 15 minutes, hell of a workout. And then the guy's like, ah, and he blows up, and it's so brutal, but like it's not like over the top like John Bernthal's version. I don't know why. That's what I grew up with, so I love Tom Jane's version of Punisher. But anyway, welcome to the Marvel podcast. If you're new here,
Yeah, we got off on the Marvel tangent there. But
anyway, so I do hope that the devs at the Marvel Rivals on the American support side or whatever's going on there, that they land on their feet. I feel like we say this every other week because there's layoffs in the industry every single week. I mean, it sucks. And I would just say, like, I can't imagine like coming into like the food industry where like that's like the most common customer service job that we have, the most reliable customer service job for a lot of people, because people have to eat, right? I can't imagine coming into the food industry and just being like, I'm probably going to get laid off at any moment. And I'm so passionate about cooking, or I'm so passionate about whatever. I think that's like the most disheartening thing about this. Like, it's hard to get more excited about the success of studios whenever you know someone's about to like lose their livelihood. But as a lot of you guys in chat said, it is like a gig job. I saw that. I thought maybe that's like a better approach to take. Like, these people are trying to build their portfolios to eventually become more of a staple in the studio, to where like they can't do without these people. And hopefully, I mean, it's not like everyone can just become like the higher up dev for every single studio. It's kind of unrealistic, but I don't know. That's a glass half full opinion for me. But yeah, DeMarco, what else is going on in the world? Anything interesting?
What? You're asking me for another topic?
Yeah, anyone got anything? What the hell's going on in the fucking world?
You guys, I probably joined afterwards, but you guys already talked about Avowed, right? Like the review scores and.
Oh
what
yeah.
people are
Let's hear your take on that, man.
I don't have a take.
Great.
I am hot take. Maybe it's a hot take.
Well, then why'd you bring it up?
Why'd you even come
Personal.
here? No, I'm just kidding.
Personal opinion. Yeah. What would you say you do here? No, but I am not an Obsidian guy. There's
Oh,
something about their games that I've struggled to.
They're so good.
I know they're good. Obviously, their track record speaks for
funny.
itself. But there's just an X factor about their games that has just prevented me from really enjoying and appreciating them. Avowed, ever since it was announced, I was like, this doesn't look any different for me. Like, I'm happy for the people that do enjoy it, that are liking it, but it's just not for me. It's not my thing. So.
Oh, that was it. That's all you had to say
I
about it.
guess.
You don't want to ask me that. Don't ask.
Oh yeah, so John 97. How do I say that? 907i says, "What do you guys think of the new Superman trailers?"
Oh no,
Arcade.
no.
There you
We're
go.
not going there. No,
Mm,
no.
straight up Garbo.
That's where we're at.
They're
We're not
good.
going there.
I like them.
We're not going there.
I like David. I like David. I like
David Spader.
James Gunn's
With his cross eyes.
take.
Sorry. Yes, it is
He's like-
always and only forever Henry
And,
Cavill. That's it.
Listen, as someone with a lazy eye myself, like look at me right now. Look at me. Like if I
And
stare
James Gunn
like
did him
straight-
wrong, so I'm boycotting it. And it just happens that it looks like crap too.
I
so
think
it's like
I
a
think
double
Henry
win.
Cavill. I think Henry Cavill was phenomenal, and I think people need to stop crying that it's not Henry Cavill.
Yeah. See what you did. Look what you've done, John. Look what you've done.
I can't
Did you
talk
see
about this. I can't talk about this.
1976
Henry-
suit
He-
with the
Henry
floppy
Ca-
pieces
Henry-
on it and the
Henry
red
Cavill
underwear
is
over the
not-
suit in 2025.
Yeah, that is he's going back to classic costume design because
25.
James Gunn actually cares about these characters, and he's not Zack Snyder, who's turning around and is like, I don't give an F whatever the fans want. I'm making this movie for me. Screw all
Give
of
an
you guys.
F
It was
whatever the
great.
fans
Literally what that is.
Obviously, the
That is
only
literally
thing
no.
he cares
That
about.
is literally
Tell me
what
I
Zack
wanna
Snyder
do-
has said in interviews. He came out and he said, I don't give a crap what the fans want. He's like, oh, you think like Batman not killing people is believable? Well, I'm watching a superhero movie, so a man running around in tights in a bat suit isn't believable. So if he doesn't want to kill people, he doesn't have to kill, like, and then Zack Snyder comes in and he does whatever the hell he wants, and I don't like him as a director. His color grading is terrible, his plots were stupid,
I
his
love it.
plot lines were garbage and trash, and Zack Snyder is just a shitty director. I'm sorry, he's a bad director.
I'm not
And James
asking
Gunn
if
is 10 times better. So as much as I like Henry
Those
Cavill as
30 minutes,
Superman,
BT.
Henry Cavill is amazing as Superman, and I would love to see him continue to be a Superman. And you know what I would love to see? I would love to see if DC could build an actual coherent universe where Henry Cavill
Well, that
could
would
come
be
back
nice.
as Superman. That would be awesome. However,
Yep.
what I will say
I
is
agree.
that just because David Cornswell or Cornsweat, whatever his name, I'm sorry, I don't know his last name actually.
Sweat. That's what he looks like. Yep. Keep
Just
going.
because,
Cornswell.
just because
Yep.
David
Big
David is
forehead.
now Superman, which he looks great as Superman. I'm just saying. Just because he's
No, he
just
looks
because he's not Henry Cavill does not mean that James Gunn
He sucks.
doesn't know what he's doing with the characters.
But I
Because
will
James
agree
Gunn,
with
the
you.
reality is James Gunn has done the best things out of Marvel in
Stop.
recent years.
Well, I will say though, I do agree with you on a lot of the Zack Snyder stuff. For me, it was either a total hit or an all the way miss, and I feel like
All of his stuff
total
was all the
hit-
way miss. Well, no, not all
No.
of his stuff. I'm sorry.
Man of
That's not
Steel
true,
was
yeah.
good.
Man of Steel was
And-
okay.
and
Man
the
of Steel had
Suicide
good
Squad-
moments
That Suicide Squad movie was pretty good too.
by James Gunn. James Gunn did the good Suicide Squad movie.
Well, I
David
hate that
Ayer.
movie then. Fuck that movie. I hate it.
Because it was James Gunn. No, you just said you
But-
liked it. David Ayer
but-
did the crappy version of the Suicide Squad, and then James Gunn came in and did the Suicide Squad, which was the one with Polka Dot Man and Starro, and
That was before. But I don't like.
it was good.
I don't
was
like
actually
any of his
good.
choices with Superman versus Batman. I don't like the Affleck Batman. I don't even like the new Batman that much, to be honest. But he's still better than Affleck. But
The duck.
I just didn't really jive with a lot of Zack Snyder's stuff. But he did a great job with Man of Steel. So.
We're talking about DC here. Should I come back?
No,
Oh,
it's
no,
fine.
we're not going to talk about this anymore. And it doesn't
You
matter what I
actually
like
came
before
at
the
perfect
betrayal.
time.
of James Gunn against everything that's Superman. Everything pre-Superman with James Gunn is fine. But from now on, boycott. Done. Dunzo. Done.
You actually came at the perfect time, Assassin.
That's what she said.
Because I you,
God damn it.
You've yeah, you're gonna save my
So that's the
spirit
end of the show now.
from-
Thanks everybody for coming.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks guys for being here.
We should just delete this one out of the. It never happened.
Yeah, this one never happened. This is gonna be a members only,
See you next week for episode 94.
What the fuck happened while I was gone?
You don't want to know.
So much, so much,
So
Too
much, so much.
too much.
Can,
one
can
might
you
say.
give me
No,
a can you give me a
No.
30-second
No.
review?
no, no.
I just need a 30-second
No.
review of Brave New World spoiler review from Mr. Donald F.
Yeah, let me just grab my wallet real quick.
No, you know what? I'm done doing things for money. Okay.
He's like,
I'm
I'm done
I'm never
doing
That's what
things
she
for
said.
money.
That's what
Done.
she said.
I'm never doing anything for
Arcane.
money ever again. All right.
Arcane, I'm sorry, bro, but thanks to Jonas, that is now living in infamy. So blame him.
So
That's
I
true.
know you never miss an opportunity to use that fucking screen cap.
I love it. It's so good.
Only when it suits the actual topic.
Well, you know what? Honestly, better that than me going off the rails about DC and Warner Brothers for like the next.
And you act like you're the only one I
2.5
do that to. I
hours,
used to Marco and Red's photo too a lot.
Yeah. Well, no, it's again better that than me going off the rails about DC and Warner
Did you
Brothers
see
and
it?
how I'm
Did you
done.
see it?
Yep.
What happened? What's going on?
Nothing. All right, I'm trying to get Assassin's picture sorted out here. This way we.
You know I don't need a picture, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm
Oh,
trying.
I'm not. It's only 30 minutes. They don't need a picture.
It's
You
fine, I
well,
got you.
you could come on. You could go on camera, and then you wouldn't
You
need a
could come.
picture.
Then we didn't need a picture.
Yeah, and James Gunn could actually leave
I'm gonna
DC, but
come.
that's not going to happen now, is it?
Well, I'm sorry, he's fixing DC, but you know.
He is. Oh, yeah, let me put a picture of my driver's license up there. That'll be.
Yeah,
good.
let me just grab a photo real quick. It's you could say it's flying through two different eye sockets.
Is it your birthday, Assassin?
No, my birthday is in. Fuck. No, I'm not saying no.
It's in December.
No.
So you're saying that we missed your birthday?
No. Well, you technically did last year, but it's not in December.
All right. There we go.
Only Arcane knows my birthday.
What? I actually don't remember. What?
Hey, I trusted the right guy.
It's been so long, dude. I don't understand what the hang up is. Like, that's such a weird thing to be hung up on. Is like, I don't want to share my birthday because I don't. That's such a weird thing to get hung up on, in my opinion. But anyway, that's besides.
I don't know. But
Um,
anyway, so
It's
you guys
okay.
talked about
We're,
Marvel Rivals?
We're moving further and further away from Red's earlier request, so I'm happy about that.
That's right. Let's move on. No more.
What was
no
my
more
request? I don't even
superhero.
know.
We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna bring it up. We're gonna let ADHD
Okay.
take over and just roll with the punches.
All right.
you're just gonna use Makoto as one of my icons, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna flip him over horizontally, just like I do all the.
Umbra says Assassin's birthday is December 15th.
He would be incorrect.
I
Or you
think you're
could be
lying. I don't believe you. He's like,
I don't.
I don't believe.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So was that really it? Was like just Avowed came out and
Well,
Marvel
hey,
Rivals?
Assassin.
Can I talk
Uh,
about? Well,
Yeah, Assassin, you played Avowed. How long have you played it? Because we played it for like half an hour each.
12
just
hours.
Me and Holly. Oh my God. Okay.
About the
Okay.
Why
I
was
did not
that?
expect-
Why was
I
that
did
a
not
surprise?
expect that. Well, okay. Have you played it more in first or third person?
First. Only because that's how I like Obsidian's games to begin with.
Yeah, that's fine.
I tried third person. It felt clunky to me. I don't know. You guys you'll have to decide for yourself, Red. But it just felt odd to me.
Okay.
Yep, I've been playing first person. I found my third companion. Can I just say, like, I know
No.
Kai's voice actor is Brandon Keener. He voiced Garrus in Mass Effect. He sounds both the same as Garrus, but also not. Like, he sounds more mature and sophisticated.
Well, he's
Oh, he's
probably
a lot
at
older
least
than when he
18 years
played.
older. Yeah, just say it's been a long time
Since he played Garrus.
since he played Gears. Oh my God, BT Maverick.
I know that. I know it's been, what, it came out in 2007? Yeah, 18 years. Yeah, you were right on the
2007.
money, Red.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
wow.
yeah.
Look at me go.
Yeah,
Um,
so,
LOL, JK, don't do it.
Yeah, let's just we can do that. We can do that. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so-
before I'm going to ask you a question, but I want you to continue about how do you feel about Avowed so far?
well, let me preface by saying this. When it comes to playing Avowed these past 2 days, it's one of those games where you don't really want to pick up and play it at first, but when you
Wait,
do,
you got
just get
12
sucked into
hours
it.
played in 2 days?
Yeah.
5.
Five.
Damn.
Well,
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. He had the
You got
super
12
ultimate.
hours in 5 days. You've been playing for 5 days?
Yep. That's
So
early
this
access.
is one of the rare ones that I don't agree with.
Well, I
the
played.
early
Well, I played
access.
for 3. I played Avowed for 3 days. 2 of those days, I couldn't because I was busy doing personal things.
Okay, 4 hours a day for a new game release. That makes more sense. I was just gonna say like 12 hours. I was like, damn, that's dedication right there.
Well, I mean, it's a great
6
game.
hours,
I mean,
6 hours a day in 2 days. It's pretty good.
Our friend
there's one-
Dante played it for 10 hours on Saturday.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's dedication there.
that's impressive.
Basically,
Most
Avowed is
impressive.
it's just more Obsidian. That's all it is. That's all I've wanted. It's been since 2019's technically, since we gotten like an actual RPG from Obsidian. I mean, we've had Grounded, we've had Pentiment, but as far as like double to AAA full-on RPG, like choices and consequences, that sort of thing, we haven't had that for a good 6 years, and that's all I've really wanted. I don't understand why people are trying to say that Avowed is supposed to be this grand, all-in-all, like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate type level game. It's not. It's not supposed to be. I don't understand why
I think
they're
there's
being compared.
I think there's a certain expectation with Obsidian games having really in-depth choice and consequence that after Outer Worlds, which got a lot of praise for the way they handled that part of it, that they would expand on it. And I think that there's an overwhelming, based on what I've seen and based on what you're saying, Assassin, there's a bit of a undermet expectation that Obsidian didn't really grow in it. It stayed about the same or got a little bit worse.
Well, it used to be a multiplayer game, just like Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I think.
Yeah, I can tell. I can really
Mr.
tell.
Mr.
Yeah,
Matty mentioned that in
commented
his
on that.
review, and yeah, there's a lot of probably leftover design framework in there. So.
Yeah, I noticed whenever I was playing the game and exploring the worlds, I noticed that Kai and the other companions, they would do some things that didn't actually fit a single player game. I'll let you guys play it to understand, but I can totally understand where Maddie was saying that. As far as Obsidian not growing, I mean, this game has been in development since 2019. And, well, I don't really expect Obsidian to grow much. Really? I honestly still think they're still in the experimental stage of where they want to be. Outer Worlds 2, I think, is probably the better one to, like, judge, like, hey, like, Avowed is technically a new IP. It's set in the world of Eora. You have pillars, a focal point. But the Outer Worlds 2, if that one has not improved or has not built upon what the first game did, then I would say, okay, what's going on here? Like,
Oh, and that one has the benefit of being developed as a traditional Obsidian RPG from the very beginning. You know, again, Avowed was a multiplayer.
Avowed was supposed to be multiplayer. I remember
Yeah.
that leak a few years ago.
So
actually.
when you have to change the entire design framework halfway through, that inevitably is going to lead to a product that is flawed.
Plus,
in
Avowed
one way
has
or another.
changed game directors a few times.
Yeah, there's that.
That's
too.
why the tone was completely different. As far as I'm concerned, Outer Worlds 2 hasn't had that type of development where directors have been in and out. I don't think. Maybe someone can correct me, but I don't know. I like it. It's not exactly what I was expecting from Obsidian, but it's a welcome change of pace. And
Is
by the
it-
way,
is it,
people
yeah.
people saying that 80 on Metacritic is terrible. Do you have any idea how many games that all 5 of us have played that are probably in the mid 50s to 70s and we absolutely love them? Can we stop like with this whole if it's less
There's a lot
than
of
85,
studios
it's
there's a lot of
bad.
studios that would kill to have an 80 rating on Metacritic or OpenCritic. Like that's a very respectable number to have.
True.
Yeah, I mean, so many big time like isn't Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man at like an 83 or something like that?
Somewhere
Possibly.
between 80 to 90, I think. Yeah, that sounds
Something like
about
that.
right.
Spider-Man.
Speaking of Spider-Man, hey, thank you so much, BT Maverick. $2 super chat says, Assassin, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie? Go.
My favorite Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Well, I technically have 2 cuz okay,
One's
you'll
live
understand why I
action.
have 2. No.
Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, both of them are live action.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I have 2 because there's a reason for it. If my favorite Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, but if we're talking like Peter Parker and Spider-Man as like an actual focal character, yeah, Spider-Man 2. Like
Oh.
the original 2004 Tobey Maguire,
That's-
Alfred Molina.
That's the right choice.
Yes.
And then without
If you want-
without that movie, No Way Home wouldn't have been what it was. Is that what you're getting at?
If it wasn't for that movie, if it wasn't for the trilogy and the duology of The Amazing Spider-Man, that film would not have been that good.
Duology. Is that a word?
Yes.
Duality.
Is that what you mean?
Duology.
No, duology is a word. Yeah.
Duology,
it's
trilogy.
It's not a
Sounds
trilogy.
like it.
Trilogy
Sounds like
has
a
tri,
animal
which
from
is
Australia.
3. Duology
And now
has
you will look at the
duo, which is
duology in
two.
its natural habitat, drinking from the lake.
It's a duology, mate.
It's a duology.
It's a
You got a
duology.
duology over here. A duology with his pick a dual. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, that's a good
Yeah,
answer.
regarding that Metacritic BS, I want to ask Chad, and technically you guys too, is there a game that was rated
Us
in the
too.
50s to 70s that you guys like, that you feel like was unjustly criticized for no reason?
Wolfenstein, the first one from Machine Games. It got like, I think low to mid 70s on Metacritic, which is just criminal because that game is awesome.
I didn't realize that Wolfenstein got that low, but then I would absolutely
Yeah.
agree with it.
That was the New Order. That was the very first one that
Yeah.
Machine Games did back in.
Which was
20-
stellar.
20-
Like the story
It's
in that
so
game
good.
was amazing, and the cuts,
Yeah.
like, parts of it felt like a movie, but in a good way, like in the best ways. And then you got into the action sequences, and the action was sick, and
Let
the
me actually look this up because I forget what the actual
that
number
that
is.
is Wolfenstein. It's one of my favorite first-person shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfenstein the New. Oh, okay. I was a little bit off. It has a 79 on Metacritic.
Still below an 80, which is not.
Days.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
it should
It's
have been
way
like
better than an
mid
80.
mid 80s.
85.
in my opinion. 85, yeah, bare minimum. But
84.
I think New Colossus actually did.
And it was
lot
emotional too. Like
better.
it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
The
was
dad
heart. That
stuff?
game was heart wrenching when it wanted to be. Like Machine Games, I've said it so many times. Underrated storytellers.
They're
Now
awesome.
they're not. Now they're
so
now
good.
they're rightly rated storytellers after Indiana Jones. But before Indiana
It's a
Jones,
shame though it took that to do it
It's
like
sh-
an established
Yeah.
IP to get people.
Yeah,
to
it's a
pay
shame that
attention.
it had to take a licensed game to actually show that off.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, that happened to Insomniac too, because they did Ratchet and Clank and Resistance for so many years, and then when they got Spider-Man, and they were like, "Oh, now Insomniac's a great studio." Like, no,
Yeah, so
they've always been a great
Wolfenstein-
studio.
Wolfenstein: The New Order had a 79, and then the highest rating for Wolfenstein 2: New Colossus is an 88. So that's like a huge
so good, yeah.
jump.
Huge
up, so,
jump.
Yeah,
Which is funny because in a lot of ways I actually think the first one is better, but
it is.
I feel like they were
kind of, yeah.
compensating for the
it's-
fact that they lowballed him on the first one. Like, you know, well, it's almost like a sequel is harder to rate because you're coming into it with context, right? You have a story that's already in your head. You know how the game traditionally plays. Like, there's a lot that's already brought into it. Whereas, like, a new IP,
I see what you're doing, Red. I
What?
can
I'm not doing
smell
anything.
you.
Holly, you got a
th-
pick?
that would be my pick.
well, there's a lot of games that I've enjoyed in the 50 to 80 range that should be in the 50 to 80 range, but they were really fun games. Like, you know, like they're not awesome bangers, but I really enjoyed them. But I also don't pay hardly any attention to Open or Metacritic. I don't care what those scores are. I only care if I like the game. So it's a little difficult. But I was thinking about Far Cry 5. I love Far Cry 5, but I have no idea where that came in. But it's a Ubisoft game, so I'm sure that it. You know,
Wasn't Far Cry 5 like? I'm pretty sure that was in the 80s.
it could have been.
I think.
New
I don't
Dawn
know.
was good, too.
I was not a fan of
I-
Far Cry 5.
Arkham
What's that?
Origins.
Too close to home, Arcane.
Batman
No.
Arkham Origins has a 74 on Metacritic.
Yeah, I
Oh,
absolutely
come
hate
on.
that. I
No.
hate-
All right, that's
And
actually way.
That is
better
actually-
And Arkham Origins was the weakest of the 4 games.
It's the black
but-
sheep. Yeah.
It was still that.
It
but
is the
saying
black
it's
sheep, but it shouldn't be that low.
saying
No.
it's the weakest of 4 phenomenal games, out of 3 other phenomenal games, is still to say that Arkham Origins is a great game.
See,
You know, that's
All that-
actually another series I need to play through again this
all
year.
that does is
I do
tell
it like
me
once a year.
that nobody should care what these actual scores are. I did think of Mad Max actually too, Umbra. But all
Mad
that
Max,
says is that you
yeah,
shouldn't pay
so
attention
good.
to
I
those
heard that one was
scores
really good,
because
yeah.
it's dumb. It's dumb. It doesn't matter what the scores are. And
Red?
now, as we're moving forward, we're hearing more and more about games journalists, right, docking points for X reasons, which have nothing to do with the game.
Ooh, yeah,
which
I think I know
also-
exactly of what you're talking about. right now.
Yeah, I
It's not
think
bad.
we
It's, I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? It's not just this one thing in particular. There's been others in the
Yeah,
past
no,
that
there's
have come up. So,
there's cases of it. Yeah.
so it just shows that the Metacritic score is already skewed, right?
Far Cry 5 was an 81 on Metacritic. Wow,
No,
jeez.
I-
barely hit that
I-
line.
I think gameplay in Far Cry 5 and just the way you explored the open world was handled pretty well compared to previous Far Cry games. It was the story that I was completely turned off to the story. I was like, what is this?
All you have to do, Arcane, is
I
say
love that one.
yes.
Yeah, it was actually my favorite because
Actually,
I was getting
all you
tired.
have to do is say no at the beginning. Just don't even play the game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure you get another ending if you actually don't.
I hated the story in that game. I actually have a video that I made about it going way back when the game came out, and I've softened a little bit on it because again, I think the gameplay and the open world was so it was really good compared to 3 and 4. And obviously, you know, Ubisoft knows how to make a good first-person shooter. Gunplay felt great. And just that open world was very interesting. It was a very different kind of thing, obviously, because it's set in what was it, like Montana? That's where the game is set.
It is in Montana.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it being a little closer to home. It's not a tropical island. It's not the Himalayas. It's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And for me personally, it's like literally, I know you made a joke about it, Assassin, but it is like quite literally my backyard. It's like a couple hours from where I live. So
Yeah, that was the that was the joke.
but the story was what the story lost me. I was like, I do not like this at all for the story. And a story is one of the most crucial aspects of my enjoyment of a game. And so good gameplay and open world and all of that stuff can only
Careful.
take my enjoyment so far. So
Careful, Arcane. You don't want to say that in front of DeMarco, because then he'll bring up Doom and prove you wrong.
Bless
Well-
you. DeMarco can't hear him.
Doom is a totally different situation.
There's a story. It's just you don't play Doom for the story.
Yeah,
you,
it's-
you,
if
you
I
do it
play
for
Doom for the lore.
I actually love the lore that
I
they've done
like
in the
the
modern Doom games. I really
Yeah,
like.
did you
what they've
guys
done with
notice
it, but
that-
That's not.
I don't know
you
if
don't have to pay
anyone-
attention to it. It's not a focal point. Like you can play the game, shut
But
your
you
brain
should.
off, and do that. But you should pay attention to it. Yeah, I
There's
agree.
really-
Yeah, DeMarco. I, don't
agree
know
with
if you
this
heard
man.
during the direct. There's like some audio logs from like Doom 2016 that are actually going to be shown
Oh, I
in the
know.
Dark
I'm
Ages.
excited.
So
Yeah, the Slayer's
like, hey!
Testaments. They're gonna
It's-
actually show what happens in the Slayer's Testaments when he fights the Goliath and when he's ultimately put inside the
I can't wait for
sarcophagus.
that
And
game.
I know
I,
you're posting
uh,
about it on Twitter every day.
you're thirsting for the Doomslayer, Holly. It's getting a bit concerning. But
Totally.
anyway.
Totally.
It's
God.
not
That is a
concerning.
giga attack.
Everyone should thirst for the Doom Slayer. That's not concerning.
I mean, I do too, but not to the
No,
extent
it's
Holly's
concerning if you're.
doing.
It's concerning if you're not thirsting.
That's what
as
I was
much
gonna
as
say.
Holly for the
Your
Doom.
sexuality
Like
will
I'm,
be
I'm
judged.
like I'm concerned Holly's gonna like buy like 5 collector's editions just to have 5 Dooms behind. Wait, no. Anyway, so Red, if you don't have a pick, I have a pick.
Wait, what? For what? Where are we?
Red is just so busy.
Hey,
fucking around
The
with
70s
something
thing,
on the podcast
50s,
right now.
The 50s.
Red, is
I mean,
there
I have no
a-
idea. I have no idea.
Is
Like,
there
The
an-
Witcher 3 could be like Starfield could be
I'm pretty.
like an 87.
No.
I had no idea.
No.
Oh wait, it is an 87.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
pay attention to any of it. So
You know what? Here's another one that. Oh wait, actually.
Can
wait,
I
this
go?
one scored this high? That's insane. This is like an old one. This is a super big throwback. But Bulletstorm on the
With Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah, with Steve Blum. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has an 84.
And he even looks like him. I'm always like,
He
what
does,
the fuck?
yeah.
This looks like Wolverine.
No,
with guns.
because I enjoyed that game back in the day, but I don't remember
Yeah.
it reviewing that well. It has an 84 on Metacritic. That's actually a little too high, probably, for what that game actually is. But
It was
that
sort of
game
like
is
a
Just
mix between,
Cause.
Like, Doom and Rage with some cool
Jacob
elements.
Tupac, Just Cause on
Yeah.
the 360. It was a 70. I love the Just Cause series.
oh yeah, Just Cause,
Cause,
is super
yeah.
underrated. That one's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love those games.
My pick
Those
though.
those are the guys who are it's Avalanche, right?
Yeah,
Those
Avalanche.
are the guys who are making Contraband, right?
Yeah, Contraband.
Correct.
They also did
Didn't they do the Mad Max game?
Mad Max. Thank you. Yes. That's
Yes.
exactly what I was gonna say.
Oh, and they did
Yep,
they did Rage 2 with id Software.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
work
that's
with
right.
id
They built
Software.
the world.
Lab
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're amazing. There's so many
Oh.
studios that just fly under the radar that just like you're like, oh, of course.
And
of
they
course.
shouldn't.
Yeah, it sucks. But then everyone will get laid off. Anyway.
But
Have you
my
have you
pick-
not actually completed Doom Eternal, Holly?
no.
Oh,
BT Maverick gave it to me for my birthday, and
and you
on
haven't gotten to the
PC.
DLCs then yet?
No.
Oh man. It's
No,
so
I have
good.
not. And I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna play anything else except Avowed, Adamfall, and
You
Expedition
gotta make
33
time
before
for that.
me.
You gotta
Like,
make
that's why,
time
like,
for it before
Maybe it
Dark
should be
Ages
just
comes
Doom
out. You gotta
Sundays.
do it.
I think Sundays. Maybe it's just Doom Sundays. Period.
I'm
Tuesdays.
still shocked that you're giving Expedition 33 a shot, Holly. Like
I'm really excited for that one. I think
I
it's
didn't think
fantastic.
I didn't think you would be interested in turn-based.
Sorry,
I
I know
play
I
a lot of
cut you off
turn-based stuff.
earlier,
I love it.
Assassin. What was your pick?
My pick, and for the Remedy heads in here, you'll know why I picked this one. Quantum Break. I think it's got like a 76, 77 on Metacritic.
I still
The
need to play
gameplay in that
Quantum
game
Break.
is so fun.
I heard
Yeah,
Quantum
I-
Break is great. I still need to play it.
I know a lot of people were turned off by the TV aspect of it, but hey, Remedy was experimenting. It actually worked, in
Yeah,
my
it's got
opinion.
a 77.
Yeah, so Microsoft, if you're not going to do anything with that IP, can you give it back to Remedy so they can actually do something with it? Please?
Speaking of Remedy, that's actually something we could talk about, or maybe just you, me, and Red, since I think we're the only ones who are really into the
Who
Remedy
actually give a
verse.
fuck about Remedy?
Star-
No.
I
I'm
got-
a
no, sorry,
massive
you
fan.
go first, DeMarco.
I got a really quick. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has a 79 on Metacritic.
What?
That tracks.
Okay.
Okay,
Why are
okay,
you
now,
finding all of the good ones?
now,
No, that's about
now
right.
I'm pissed.
No,
No.
that story, the
That's about right.
story, the
That
story
story-
in that game was phenomenal.
That gameplay,
the
the world
story was
design,
incredible.
no.
It's well,
The
there's
music
Holly
was
with another
stellar.
spicy.
Cameron
extra
Monaghan's
spicy
performance was
opinion.
exceptional. The guy who played Jaro Tapal was fantastic.
I think I forget
Wasn't
her
that-
name, but the actress who plays Seer is super good. too.
Deborah Wilson.
Yeah, that's
Deborah
her
Wilson
name. Yeah.
Deborah Wilson is incredible. She does a lot.
And Cameron Monaghan doing Cal, like actually making Cal Kestis, in my
Cal is a
opinion,
legendary character.
Here's a
Cal
hot
should
take.
be involved in the bigger
Cal
parts.
is the best modern Star Wars character to get introduced.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I totally
And
agree.
here's
He
my
should get
hot
his own
take.
film.
Here's my hot take. I think he actually shouldn't be brought into live action because
Mm-mm.
I don't think a lot of the live action stuff they've done has been particularly good recently.
Star
And I
Wars
would,
is better
I
as a
would prefer,
concept.
I would prefer
Or
if he
animation.
was just kept strictly to the games or animation. Yeah.
Star
but-
Wars is only good as a concept or an animation. It is not a live action thing.
Oh, a concept. Oh, I missed that first part you said. there.
Star Wars, I think, is infinitely better conceptually than it is in execution. I stand by that statement 1000%. But that being said, the animation of Star Wars is monumentally better than any of the live action stuff.
His morality in Survivor and his relationship with Marin and all that going on
I
in the
thought
second
Survivor
game.
was incredible. Honestly, I was in tears by the time I finished Jedi Survivor. I was not expecting to go on an emotional.
What was
roller
Survivor's
full
Metacritic?
on- I was full on crying.
Yeah,
full on
dude, that
crying.
that
Yeah.
that game was wild. So, God, where did we trail off from there? Oh right.
Well,
the
Brad
Remedy
still hasn't
stuff.
given his answer.
Well,
Oh, yeah, and
we're-
then Red, yeah.
I'm not going to give my answer. We're running out of time. So let's speed run this this segment here with who's next.
Oh, I was just gonna bring up
Yeah, go
Remedy had their investor conference or whatever it's called. I forget. Investor call or something. And they talked about how Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes are basically like full speed ahead. They're in full production, and those are likely, if I had to guess, targeting like 2026 might be when we actually see those come out, which would be great for me because I've never played Max Payne. And I feel like these remakes, I feel like I'm part of the target audience for them because I would go and play the original 2 games, but I feel like they've just aged a lot, in some ways very poorly. So I'm curious to see what sort of changes they're making with regards to gameplay. And then obviously with the remakes running on the Northlight engine, they're going to look absolutely incredible. And then Control 2 is probably going to come shortly thereafter, maybe 2027, 2028. And Control 2 is going to be like an action RPG, which makes me raise my eyebrows because that's very different from the first game. So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that. And then we know this year, actually, we've got the Control multiplayer game, FBC Firebreak, coming out. That's
Oh
like
yeah, I
co-op
forgot that's coming out this
PvE.
year.
I am so excited for that one. I think a multiplayer game set in the Remedy verse, or in the control part of the Remedy verse
Building.
specifically.
The
It's such a-
verticality.
It's such a great idea, and everything they were showing in that trailer was like, yes, I want more of that, please.
I'm still surprised that Remedy agreed to put that game both on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. Day
yeah,
one.
well, I think it's gonna help because if you've played Control and Alan Wake, you know that it's set in that universe. I think that game is gonna bring in a whole new audience that have no idea what Control and Alan Wake are about, but it's gonna introduce those people to that wild and insane supernatural universe that they've created, and they're gonna be like, huh, maybe I should check out Control. The only other thing that's noteworthy in that investor call that I can remember off the top of my head is that Alan Wake 2 just barely crossed 2 million sales, I think, and it has now gotten to the point where they are earning profit. It has become profitable now. They've recouped all of the marketing and development costs. But what's sad about it is, like, it's been well over a year and they're only just barely profiting off of sales from Alan Wake 2, which is a damn shame because that game, I will forever sing the praises of Alan Wake 2. It is one of the few games that I can recall playing in my lifetime that I consider to be honestly perfect in just about every way. I would not change a single thing about that game or my time with it. But yeah, it just barely crossed 2 million sales, but it's only just now making profit for them after like a year of release. It's sad because that game should have reached, in my opinion, a much wider audience with the survival horror angle, but it just didn't land with a whole lot of
if it
people,
was an
but-
Epic Game Store exclusive and if they wasn't all
Yes,
digital.
If it was on Steam, if they had a physical release, absolutely. But hindsight is 2020, right? Like, we could talk about that all day, but it is what it is. I think the game, just like with all of Remedy's other games, like Control is a great example too, it's going to have really long legs. The further and further we get away from the initial launch, the more and more copies it's going to sell and more people are going to connect to it. And Remedy's games historically have always been really good at that. They have really strong legs after the initial launch. They usually will sell pretty good.
It's because they tie all their universes together, so it's like
And that's
need-
such
you know,
a-
you
it's-
feel like you want to know more about it.
Exactly,
or you need to know more.
and they're like one of the only major developers in AAA that are doing that.
Which
and
is
also
amazing. It's
and
such
also
a good idea.
doing it effectively, like the way that they tie Control and Alan
That's
Wake
not true.
together is
That's
handled
not the only
so
studio doing it.
perfectly.
Everybody knows that Elder Scrolls and Fallout are in the same universe.
All
That
right,
Elder Scrolls, Fallout,
Yeah.
and Starfield are all in the same universe.
I
so
mean,
it's
you
time to end
joked,
the
Marco,
show.
but Bethesda.
it's
but I mean,
they did
Arcane.
it
You could
first,
say that about
Bethesda.
Remedy.
they did Horse Armor first. They did the shared universe first. So how do you like them apples?
Yeah. I love
Just
disregarding
man-
those apples,
for the
Arcane,
people
you
that think just because there's a single Nern route in Fallout 4 that somehow those games are magically connected. They're not. I'm killing
it.
your dream right now.
Is it-
I
And
mean,
actually,
Arcane.
the
You
Elder
can say
Scrolls-
that, but your studio, Dishonored and Deathloop, being technically in the same universe.
Exception, not the rule. That's the exception. It's not
I'm
the rule.
just
That's what
saying, and
gonna
I'm
continue
telling
to
you,
argue.
when your crossover game happens, because you willed it into existence, I'm going to laugh in your face when they ended on that ending cutscene and there's a fucking mimic.
No.
I'm going to laugh. I'm going to tell you,
No.
you were wrong, I was right. Tell me.
Nope. I'm gonna tell you you were wrong when that inevitably doesn't happen. But anyway, Red, I know we're running over time, so I think it's probably as good a time as any for us to close things out. So
Thank
that was the
you.
Remedy thing was the last thing I wanted to mention. So
Yeah, I can't wait for Max Payne remakes to come out because not enough people have played those for understandably good reasons. They're very old. They're over 20 years old, or almost 20 years old at this point. cannot wait for them. That's what I'm really excited for the next. I wasn't a big fan of Control, just because the combat was very, very difficult, and it just didn't feel fun.
It was fun at the beginning. The enemies got a little too spongy by the end of the game.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie.
it's
For everyone, you can clip this. I turned on invincibility in one-shot mode at the end, near like I was like 8 hours in, and I'm like, I just want to know the story. And then even then, I felt so claustrophobic. I did not like the setting of Control at all. I love Jesse Faden, and I love the idea of it because of the delivery of it. But I had much more of an enjoyable time watching the movie version of Control. And I loved it. I'm just saying, like, as a video game, I did not like the setting. Like, I loved the moments of pulling the light switch and stuff like that. Like, it was so... the pulling the light switch moments, I'm like, how do they do this?
Those were cool, yeah.
I'm like, how the hell do they do that? In the game, it's so crazy. Like, you pull a switch and, like...
Are we
crazy.
going to be running a party when the multiplayer one, the Firebreak game comes out?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I can't wait for that one.
Huge fan of Remedy. Cool. And I can't wait to see what they do next with Control 2 and all that. Like I said, I love everything about Control, other than the fact that I played it.
I honestly cannot wait to play Alan Wake 2, because since you guys were no help last time, I've just up and decided, you know what? After I'm done with Prey, Alan Wake 2, I'm coming for you.
You're gonna.
That'll be the next game after I stream.
It's incredible.
Control.
Or after I stream Prey.
Yeah.
What about Alien Isolation?
I know. I'm sorry. I know you love
I'm
it.
waiting for October, DeMarco.
This man,
You said
he'll
that
get around to it.
You said that last October.
Anyway, all right. Well, look. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Let's do our dues. Arcane, where can people find you? What you gonna be getting into? You've been doing content lately. Lots of it. You got shit lined up.
Yes, I do. I actually finished. This past weekend wasn't really all that great for me for personal reasons, but I did get some stuff done, so it wasn't all bad. Silver lining is I finished some videos this weekend. And I actually, for the first time, I think ever, that I've been doing YouTube, I feel really comfortable about where I'm at with my consistency in uploads, and the, God, what's the word? My backlog of videos that I'm building up. So if you guys are curious to see what sort of stuff I've got going on, you can find me on YouTube at the Arcane Realm. I'm also on X or Twitter, however you prefer to call it, at the Arcane Realm, and you can see me usually posting and sharing when a video goes live. That's another way that I try to reach out to people. So if you're interested in Arcane Studios content, like discussions about the upcoming Blade game, other games, like I actually made a video about the Dawnwalker RPG that did surprisingly a lot better than I thought it would. So if you guys are interested in any of that, you can check me out there on either of those two, YouTube or Twitter.
There you go. Yeah, looking forward to it, man. You've been on a good stride. Great thumbnails, great coverage, great editing. It's been great to watch. Whenever I can't finish your videos, I always save them so that way I finish them later. So I always finish you off, no matter how long it takes. You know what I mean? DeMarco, what are you going to be getting into as far as content goes, and what are you going to be getting into?
Yeah. Links in the description to my channel, DeMarco Dude, on YouTube and Twitter. And as always, if you need a extra dose of podcasts, you can check out my own shows that go live Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I know that a lot of you guys, I see, you guys cross over and hang out on my stream as well on Thursdays, even though it's very different in tone and energy, but it's always nice to see you guys there. So thank you for that support, and I hope to see you this Thursday.
Yeah, can't wait.
This man does a solo podcast better than anyone that I have ever seen in my entire life. He does it so well.
He does a better
He
solo
can only
podcast.
pay Jonas so much.
He does a better solo podcast than most full panel podcasts do. I don't know how you do it. It's great. And I save him and I listen to him whenever I miss certain segments. It's great. There you go. Thank you, Arcane, for doing that. There's your link in the description. Let me pin that there. there's Arcane's channel right there. Check him out there. Go subscribe to him. Go show him some love. And DeMarco is in the description.
We're both on. Me and Red are both on the quest to cross the 2,000 subscriber milestone.
Yeah.
So if you guys
race.
enjoy, no, it's not even a race. You're gonna get there before
Yeah.
me. It's only a matter of time. But
Yeah, I don't know.
if you guys enjoy my content enough, consider subscribing, obviously. And if you haven't already subscribed to this man, what do you even do here?
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Yeah. All right. Holly, where are you every Friday, and where else are you other than Fridays?
Every Friday, I'm on the Infinite Podcast on Risk It for the Biscuits channel. If you follow my Twitter, it's usually reposted with the link if you can't find it. And then,
Yeah.
can we announce what we're doing?
Yes. Do it.
Ooh, a special
You
announcement.
could explain it better than I can.
Yes. So, since Red and I are the most frequent co-op partners, we are going to live stream Split Fiction when it comes
Yes.
out.
Wow.
Yes.
So be on the lookout. We'll try to work. We don't have a schedule set up yet, but we'll try to be very consistent. And we'll probably play it pretty quick, like pretty frequently to get through it, since, that's not like once a month, or you know what I mean? It'll probably be once every 3 or 4 days or 2 days or whatever, right? That
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So
And
we'll let you know
Holly brought up the great point that the reason it's exciting to do is that all of Hazelight's games, you can see both people's cameras at all times. So it's going to be a great streaming experience, which I think that's going to elevate it a lot. So you can always see what both of us are doing at the same time without, it's just like, it seems like a perfect opportunity to stream that. So you'll be able to have my face and her face on both screens at one time to get that. Yeah, I'm really excited. They have such unique games, and I can't wait to see what else they do in the future. But yeah, I'll be on the lookout for that. Really excited for that split fiction. Yes, and
I love that.
Assassin. Yeah, Assassin. Where can people find you? What you doing?
what you do.
Why are you?
Get it, girl.
Sorry, I was waiting for the punchline. You can find me
Why are you gay?
on.
Oh, that was a good one.
Well, he
Yep.
wanted me
Existence is pain.
distance.
Anyway.
Is pain.
I said existence is pain.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say distance is pain when you're in love. I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm
if we're
tired.
quite finished,
Yep, we are quite finished. Yep.
you can find me on Twitter at Assassin52. You can also find my YouTube channel. You can find both links to those in the description down below. I stream every once in a while when I can, as long as work doesn't interfere. So I'm going to try and finish Prey this week so I can get started on Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
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 It's
Going
Try
from
being
one
being the operative word.
try, yes.
This
I'm
man
I'm
is
sorry,
struggling.
Arcane, but
This
run
man
and
is
gun should be a
struggling.
thing.
It is a thing. You just haven't done enough to get there yet.
I know. I know. Like that
And
is
you're
the
already
that
at-
is the
you're
hot
already-
take.
You're already at the end of the game, so it's not like it matters. You've
What
had
the
your experience with it, so
Oh yeah, that so I know these three haven't seen the stream, but my last stream, Arcane did. Weird bug where I'm trying
oh yeah,
to
that was crazy. I had never.
I'm
seen
trying to do
anything
like two
that
different
before.
objectives, and it takes me to this little cup, this little pouring cup, and it says, "Here's your
Two girls?
objective."
Yeah, it was like a tea kettle was marked as your primary quest objective. I've put over 120 some odd hours into Prey. I've never seen that before. That was actually hilarious.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Wasn't exactly much fun for me.
No, it was not.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna finish Prey, and then go to Alan Wake 2. So that's my plan, and that's what I'm up to.
Fantastic.
Red?
Looking forward to it. Thank you. I forgot we have a soundboard here. We don't hear it enough. Whoa! It just like threw up.
Fascinating story. Any chance you're nearing the end?
Yes.
I should go.
All right. Thank you, Shepard. Yeah, you can find me right here, right now, and on Twitter in the link in the description below. Give me a follow there. I talk about nothing, really. But I'm excited for the future, and I'm really tired, and I can't think straight right now. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it each and every week. It means so much to me. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the super chats. Shout out to Game Seeker, Droopy Nuts, and BT Maverick for all your support. That meant a lot. And look at look at Arcane doing this. I wish I could blow you up. Well, I shouldn't pause.
Sorry. Say that again. Say that again.
Well, all right. That's probably all we got for tonight. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.